Welcome to the Just Do It podcast, hosted by Anne Duffy. Dental Entrepreneur Women is here to dive deep and share stories with the mission to inspire, highlight, empower, and connect all women in dentistry.
Hi, everyone. It's Anne Duffy, and welcome to the Just Do It podcast. I have one of my favorite people in the whole world as a guest today, and I know you guys know that because I adopted her, right when we started Dental Entrepreneur Woman, and she has been a big part of the movement and the growth of Dental Entrepreneur Woman of Do Life, and it's just an honor to have her on with me today. Hello, Minal. How are you?
Hello. Thanks for having me. This is so much fun.
I know. This is like a regular afternoon for us, but we came up with something good to chat about today. And before we get started, I want to tell you a little bit about Minal Sampat. She is a best-selling author, marketing strategist, social media coach, and dental hygienist. She was born in India, grew up in the U.S. Virgin Islands, went to college in New Jersey, and now lives in Walla Walla with her husband and an extensive shoe collection. She launched her first company by breaking the Guinness World Record, and since then has helped hundreds of dental practices and businesses with marketing strategies to grow production while reducing marketing expenses. She is also the founder of Marketologist, an online marketing training program, and CE on the Beach, where she hosts events in tropical islands. Next year's event is in Aruba. Minal's marketing strategies have been featured in industry press and www.forbes.com, not once, not twice, but 7 times in the last 3 years. And I know that there's another one coming out here pretty soon. Minal, welcome again. You're just amazing.
No, thank you. You guys are amazing. Love to.
We do love to. But I like reading your bio because I remember, and I would say you're almost to thousands of dental practices that you've helped. When you have that, you're like a pebble in the pond with Marketologists, right? To teach one, it's like the trainer's trainer for marketing, I would say. Do you think that's something, that's a brand that you have with Marketologists?
Yeah, I mean, Marketologist, the whole point is for you to become, right, that, and for you to understand the systems and the strategies. For me, it's always been, I rather learn to fish. If I know how to fish, I can teach others how to fish too. So, I mean, my first Clifton strength is a developer. So for me, if I'm not developing people, I'm not a happy person. That's just organically who I am.
Well, that also makes a great coach. Anybody that's a developer, I love the way you say it. Those are your innate gifts and talents that you have, and then you've really honed those skills over the years. But the one thing I'm really excited about, and I can't wait to talk about, is CE on the Beach. Both of us have events coming up in 2024. Tom and I were honored to be at CE on the Beach, not only in St. Thomas, not once, not twice, but we are scheduled to go 3 times. We were at Turks and Caicos last July, and then this year we're going to be in Aruba. There's nothing like being in person. I mean, the Zoom is great because we know each other, we've hugged each other, we've loved on each other in person, a couple times a year. And so I think that, since COVID, we realize that Zoom works, but there's something special about being in person. Talk a little bit about that and what you see come together with CE on the Beach.
Well, I think first, any event, like even when we talk about our DeW event, it's one of the retreat. I mean, as humans, we crave that space where we want to be with each other. I mean, I would tell you that some of my most best ideas have always come out when I'm at an event in person, talking to someone, sharing, collaborating, feeling the energy, right? I mean, Zoom is great. I love Zoom. I've been on, my whole business pretty much runs on Zoom since 2017. But to be honest with you, even like presenting on Zoom compared to presenting in person, whole different thing, because you're able to capture the energy. You're able to communicate with that excitement and you can feel how it works. So I don't think that there is ever going to be anything that replaces in person.
No,
it just can't.
Yeah, I think if anything, we've appreciated it so much, especially this last year. Both of us traveled a lot, and there's just something about cementing relationships when you can feel them and you can touch them and you can breathe them in and you can just all the different senses versus just, seeing somebody, through a screen. So kudos to you for putting that together. We had so much fun. You always have some great classic pieces to your retreat. The first year we went to the ocean and it was the most gorgeous beach. And remember, we were all in there and we had that, oh my gosh, the food was so fabulous. We're in there swimming with all of our families. It was really, really cool. And then last year we had another dinner on the beach, which was a fabulous event. You really know how to put it on, Minal. And I know you got some things that are planned this year that's like even over the top. You're so bougie, and I just love that. It gets better every year. What are you planning on for this year?
So I feel like because my See on the Beach happens on a different island every year. And the whole reason for that is because I love islands. And it's just one of those things where I grew up in a immersive learning experience. So even like for any of us who are listening to this or watching this, if you think of some of the things that come to you naturally, you may perhaps not remember the exact sentence somebody said at an event, right? But you remember perhaps sitting at the bar or perhaps walking to something and you remember the feeling, you remember the smells, you remember the food, you remember being there. And so for me, immersive experience is a big part of how I am and how I teach and how I want other people to feel as well. So that's a part of, what I wanted to create. And what I realized is that for all of these events, there has to be a theme. Like in St. Thomas, the theme was home because it's my home. It's my actual home. Like my dad was the one who opened the event, which I don't share my personal family or personal life, but it's home. And he's the one who opened See You on the Beach for me. And he was the one who kind of welcomed everybody to it. And the Megan's Bay is hands down, one of my favorite beaches. So I wanted everybody to drive the 30 minutes from the venue to Megan's Bay because I wanted to actually have a beach party. Like this is how I spend my time in St. Thomas. This is what I do and I'm there. So to have that, even the caterer was a local caterer that I love and appreciate. The bartender is a local person that I know who makes the best painkillers that I've ever had, right? So everything was very home. And the first year on the beach in St. Thomas, I literally invited. It was almost like an invitation-only event because the people that brought in, I knew them, I had a relationship with them. It became like a family. So I wanted to do something. And then it became bigger. My whole goal of Turks and Caicos, when I think about like putting it out something, was beauty. Turks and Caicos is incredibly beautiful place. It has the best beach in the world. It's Grace Bay.
Which we stayed on right there.
Which we stayed on. So I was like, this is the best beach in the world. And I'm going after beauty. I'm going after that. I want anybody to land here and be like, oh my goodness, like this exists in this world. Like this is incredible. So yeah, the venue was directly on Grace Bay. And, we had a dinner party on Grace Bay, with open bar and bonfire and all that fun. And then for Aruba, my word is bougie. It's actually bougie. And my team is funny because they call it bougie, not bougie. And I'll tell you why. Because Aruba is known for bougie. Aruba is a very well-known island. I mean, we talk about it for decades. Where are you going on your honeymoon? Oh, you want to go to Aruba. Oh, where are you going to go shopping? Oh, where are you going to go to Aruba? Aruba is very well-known. It's a bougie place. The downtown in Aruba is lined with all the brand name shoppings in the world. It's almost like a mini Paris.
Wow.
But on top of, it's like every brand you want, any watch you want, any purse you want, any shoes you want. So before I have done different places, but Aruba is a big Marriott resort that's directly on the beach. It's bougie, meaning like you walk in and for breakfast, you get like overnight oats and, you come in and there is a fruit platter for you and you can get a smoothie for breakfast. It's not like, let's go to the island, but this is a bougie island. It's not like St. Bart's. I would say St. Bart's is like bougie on steroids because that's what Beyonce stays and the royalty stays. So we'll get there one day, guys. I'll call that the royal. But for now, the theme is bougie. And the reason it's bougie is because I went to Aruba. When I was doing all the site checkings and stuff, I realized that there are private islands in Aruba. So I decided to go on this private island. And then I realized that I can technically rent the island for a private event.
Oh, why not?
This is where it went from. It went from bougie to bougie.
Yes, it did go to bougie. I love it.
The big party, instead of having it on the beach at this fabulous resort, which is gorgeous, instead of that, we are going to have a beach party with like everybody, all the attendees, families, friends, everybody on a private island in Aruba because bougie.
Why not? But, I love it because the islands are your home, right? Because you grew up in the island. So this is a theme that you obviously, the CE on the beach, is the theme of what you loved about your life, your childhood, your early adulthood. It's really fun that you're sharing that, honestly, with all of us. It reminds me a little bit of why I like having the retreat in Charlotte, North Carolina, because it's my home. And I love everybody going to the Den Spicerona that's right down the street and the different shopping areas that I frequent. And then, of course, the house party is always a great time. I think we have that in common, which I really didn't think about until we're just talking right now. Something about we love our homes and we want to share that lifestyle with others. And I got to tell you, I don't think Tom and I would have been to this many islands if it weren't for CE on the Beach.
there's a lot of takeaways. It's a great fun. And I also think like what you just said is this is personal. You and I, we do many things. I have programs and I speak and I have other events that I host, but being on the beach, it's personal. You know this because I talk to you every week. I become obsessive with it. Even like sometimes like my husband, Andrew, has to like reel me in. They're like, honey, calm down a little. But it's like, this is personal to me. So for me, it's like, because it is a piece of heart and everything we do has a piece of heart. But when it's your home or when it's your lifestyle or when it's something that you are really proud of or, you want people to experience, it becomes even better. It's contagious. And the retreat is contagious. Like when you are there and when we all go to the wine bar to have the drinks or when we all show up and drive hours or fly from wherever we are flying into and we all show up, but it's personal. And it's personal to you. And we know it's personal to you because we see you doing crazy things. I mean, even after the retreat was done, you were calling me 20 minutes after, hey, let's go do this. And I'm like, don't you want to chill? It's been 3 days of you hosting a retreat. And you're like, no, because it's personal to you. This is so important. So I do feel that it changes the way we design. It changes the way people are welcomed, how they feel. And this is the best part that I feel for, Sea on the Beach and Aruba is anybody who's come, like the first Sea on the Beach was 50 people. The second Sea on the Beach was 100 attendees. Aruba is probably going to be close to like 120, 150. But every time we come back, we're friends.
Yes. That's one of the things I really have loved the relationships because it's so different than a huge meeting. A couple of things. A lot of people bring their families, which is really cool. And it's just so fun to meet each other's husbands or wives and partners in crime, so to speak. And then the kids get to have fun. You get to share it with them, see another part of the world that you may not have gone to. It's funny. I was telling somebody this the other day. I like working, and so does Tom. So when we do these things, it's like work, but it's just a good excuse to get with people that we love and our work family, if you will. And then it keeps growing every year. Like, I can't wait to see some of the friends that I made last year that'll be there this year. I mean, everybody I know that was there last year and the year before are all going again this year, which is really going to be cool. You just kind of build that community of collaboration. I've grown through the relationships I've met through you on CE on the Beach, which is really, really cool and something that I didn't actually expect. And it keeps getting better because the relationships keep getting deeper. And we want to work with people that we really like and that we really respect and know their culture.
That's what it is. I'm talking about the Aruba Islands and all of this, but there is a huge learning component to it. Yeah, it's a vacation. It's a write-off. And you could bring your family and friends. And I negotiated that way. We're like, I usually get the hotels at 50%. Like Aruba, the resort is over $600 a night regular, but the room rate is $329 a night. I mean, I negotiated half the room rate for 10 days. So you could come before, you can stay after, which mostly I know you and Tom have done many times. Majority of the people stay for a few days and make it into a family trip. You can also write it off because you're going to be there for CE. But there is a lot of learning component. But here's what I find really interesting about learning. There's content, it's a hands-on workshop, so everybody gets a workbook. Like, again, it's not a kumbaya, let's just go drink.
Well, no, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, the learning component is phenomenal. And especially someone like me, it's wonderful because I get to learn it, then I get to experience, and then I got to learn a little bit more, and then I get to experience it. So talk a little bit more about that.
With the learning component, like there is Speaker Coaches Consultants Day, which is day one, which is 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Breakfast and lunch and everything is included. And then there is Dentist and Team Days, the next 2 days from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. And again, people can register for both or come for one or the other, whatever works for them. There is all that information on seeonthebeach.com. But what I was saying was that it changes every year. So it's not the same every year because, again, like you said, I do have people who keep coming back. And if you're coming back, like in Turks and Caicos, we had a whole mastermind session specifically, right? For if you showed up in St. Thomas, you had a whole mastermind. We sat for 3 hours and we masterminded all of that. In Aruba, I actually have, it's going to be very different because it's very much specific. So my word for 2024 is impact. So my entire even like workbook, the things I'm sharing about is how do you make impact also in your finance as well as yourself. So it's your personal branding plus finance. How do you make that impact? And I have seen my business grow and I have learned a lot with that where I have sucked and I've failed at many things and some things have been really great. So putting that together successfully. But then we also have interviews with meeting planners and we also have interviews with, vendors and how do they make money and how do they work with KOLs. And we have a mastermind session included in that day. So there's a lot that kind of goes through it. But the best part about learning is when you are surrounded with people who are genuinely interested in your success. And that's what I think makes a big difference. So you can be working with a workbook, but what I like and what you mentioned about it, what I love and what drives me to do this, because listen, it's not easy to even plan a dinner party for 10 people.
Yeah. Well, you and I talked about it's like a wedding, a huge wedding every year that just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, keep
I
going.
am in contracts with hotels and event planners. So there's a lot of money involved at my end when I do these things as well. But with this learning component, if you were surrounded, right? So let's say that you're going through this and we're talking about this one specific financial growth impact strategy. When you're talking about it, but the fact that you're sitting next to 3 or 4 people who are going on that journey, but who also support you and directly say, you know what? Yeah. So one of the things Minal said is, so let's go ahead and make sure that we get into this specific podcast so that I know the person who does that podcast. Let me connect you with them. Yeah. Oh, I know who's doing that. Let me do that. Oh, you know what? We are surrounded with people who will say your name in a room full of other people. The reason we all love DeW so much is because all of us are there sharing openly, honestly, and each one of us will recommend another DeW in a room full of people. Yeah. Without a doubt, we'll do it.
Well, the other thing, Minal, that you said, and it really reminds me of being there last year, is that not only do you get to know these people, they get to know your business. And so then the brainstorming is on steroids, if you will, because they see some of the trainings that could map onto my business that I don't even see myself. And so that's when the brainstorming and the collaboration and then the contacts after the fact, who do you know that could fill this role, just keep building and building, is because we actually build genuine relationships around content. Yeah. And marketing changes all the time, too. I mean, you know, Mark Zuckerberg, I guess he calls you all the time and just talks to you just to say, how's it going? How am I doing, Minal? And I think that's why you are the expert. Certainly, you have gained that title and certainly is well-deserved. I also think, though, how do you leverage it? So we would go, like I said, I'm concentrating a little bit on the good times, but I love learning. I love my workbook. I still pull it out. I give it to my team so that they can help me implement the ideas, because it takes a team sometimes. But how do you leverage that networking event when you get back? What tips do you have for all of us that want to do this and want to be able to justify it from our business standpoint?
So the first thing is, for everybody, for the Sea on the Beach, there's a private group that attendees actually get it. So all the attendees are in this private Facebook groups, and those groups don't close. So as we are planning the event, like I'm sharing everything as to what's going on, where we are meeting, where we are having dinner, where are the beach parties, how are we going to get on a boat for the beach party, what are we doing, right? There's all of this information being shared. But the cool thing is everybody sees you commenting. So that group is there from the beginning till the end. And funny enough, people will be in the group saying, oh, I'm arriving at this time. Does anybody want to share a taxi with me? Or, oh, I'm staying at this building. Which building are you staying at? Or, oh, like so many people do boat trips together and beach days together. And like, these are people who have never met before. And they would put out, oh, we are doing a boat trip with 4 of us. We need 2 more people. Who 2 want to join in? And these other 2. So now you're spending, a day on a boat with people that you're going to become best friends with because you just spent a whole day on the boat with them, right? So there are so many opportunities that organically happen because you're going to be in there. And my job is to make sure that you're always connected on top of that. And then for many of the coaches, consultants, speakers, also their information goes in the workbook for the dentists and teams as well. And because there is that huge networking event that everybody shows up and everybody's together at, there are times where somebody would come to me and they would get the best of me because I am happy. That is just who we are, right? Our mood matters. If you feel good about yourself, if you feel good in the moment. I don't know about you, but how many of you are pissed off at a beach?
Well, that's true. It's kind of hard.
If you really have a problem. Like majority of the people enjoy the beach. So you find yourselves talking to people in a good mood, at their best, at enjoying level. Like the reason we all come back as friends is because you just shared a beach chair next to somebody and you were on the beach, both of you very happy, enjoying everything and talking about work and life and everything else that goes with it. So those relationships build. And then I'm a big believer that you take those business cards or that information. I don't have business cards I use. And then you come back and you make it a point to connect with them. There has to be a follow-up.
Yes.
And that's how you leverage those relationships is when you talk about it, you go ahead first, either when you're talking about, you schedule a meeting right then and there. Oh, we want to talk about this. It's amazing. This is a great idea. Let's do this together. Hey, when are you free? When you get back home? Okay, let's schedule it right now on our phones. Or when you get back, reach out to them, phone, text, email, whatever. And trust me, it's a lot easier to be like, oh my God, it was so amazing meeting you in Aruba. Such a great time meeting everybody. By the way, I know we talked about this. Let's connect. And 98% of the time, you're going to get a text. Oh my God, so amazing meeting you too. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So there is a fallback that comes with it.
Yeah, gold is in the follow-up. That's what they say. But there's a beautiful part of actually knowing somebody and having that great conversation. And everybody there is somehow tied to dentistry. It just makes it that much
And
richer.
you know who they are because everybody has a beach bag with "See on the beach."
There you
So
go.
you see somebody walking around with a bag. Oh, you're here. Oh, I'm here. That's what was happening. So it's easy.
The islands are smaller when you actually bring about 150 people together. It just seems like, oh my gosh, it just feels like a hometown event. I'm really excited, and I love the idea that we're going to have a lot of DEWs there. They're going to be coming. So if you haven't, this is almost like a mini DEW meetup in the islands, and all because of you and your vision that you had from day one on basically your home sand, home turf, home lifestyle. It's funny when I think back on all the photo shoots that I've seen you do, a lot of them were on the beach. And it does mean a lot to me and to all of us that have had time to spend with you. Well, how do we get in touch with you? How do you sign up for this? Because I know we were already signed up, but I think you've got a few spots left and they're going like hotcakes. So tell us about that.
Yeah, just go to seeonthebeach.com. It's all there. You can figure it out. But remember, if you were to sign up, use the code DEW, DEW. There is a DEW discount because I'm a DEW and I have to also take care of my dues. So
That's
please, when you sign up, remember, as you go through the checkout, there's an apply coupon area, but it's DEW, DEW. And I hope all of you are also coming to the retreat because I only missed one retreat since the retreats happened. And that's because I had a speaking engagement across the country. There was no way I was going to be able to make it back and forth, but every single retreat I've been to. And you guys, if you're not a DEW yet, I don't know why you're not a DEW yet. You need to be a DEW. All the DEWs who are already planning their stuff, showing up is the best thing that you can do to grow your business, to grow your connections, to grow your network, to grow your money, to grow anything that you want to do. The first step is in showing up and then being who you are and sharing openly. So please, I will be at the DEW retreat again,
Yes.
obviously. Yes, of course, I will
Can't
be there.
wait.
And See on the Beach, would love to see all the DEWs there. I think for the Coaches, Consultants, Speakers Day, because I'm including like a mastermind with it, I only want 50 people for that day. So I think we are up to about, I don't know how many, but I'm assuming you probably have like 12 or 13 spots open. So
Wow.
please sign up. It's going to be super fun.
It's the who's who, right? The who's in dentistry. So I'm so excited. Thanks for sharing this with us today. And, I love the way that you live your life. You and your sweet husband, you do walk the walk of taking a little time for yourselves and taking a little time for your business. When it comes together, it's pretty priceless. So Minal, thank you so much, Minal Sampat. I will see you in Aruba this year and then beyond that at the DEW retreat. So let's everybody, if you're listening to us today, just remember to keep doing you. And thank you, Minal Sampat, for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Just Do It podcast, hosted by Anne Duffy. To learn more about dental entrepreneur women, to share your story, or to join the movement, please visit our website, dew.life. That is DEW.life. Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcasting app to make sure you don't miss an episode. And in the meantime, keep doing you.